All right. We are back again, ladies and gentlemen, on Not Your Day Job. I have a great guest today. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I've known her for a while. She is a freelance model and a world traveler, as you can see. Liana Lewis, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been a freelance model?
I would say probably about 2 years, honestly. Like when I think of when I got a little bit more intentional with it, I would say about 2 years. I've always had people, family kind of like, you should do this. And I've always been like, no, because I never saw myself as someone that could do those things. And so I think after kind of taking some time to get to know myself better and then like building my self-confidence, I was like, all right, let's try and be for real about it. So it's been about 2 years. My first like actual, I would say like shoot where I was like, all right, this is what I'm trying to do was, I actually went to Miami.
Okay.
It was all on me. I didn't get paid for it. This was me like investing in myself. I combined it with like a little mini vacation I took for myself. Went to Miami, met up with the photographer out there. I always knew I wanted to do like swimsuit sports modeling, like that felt natural for me. I always like being in a bathing suit.
Okay.
I was looking at my Instagram the other day and I was like, damn, I don't have no pictures in like regular clothes. So yeah, I went out to Miami and did that shoot with him, and it was so fun. It was so fun. It was so natural. And like, obviously there's things to learn, but that was 2023. So okay. January 2023. So.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Now, obviously we're shooting this in North Carolina. Are you originally from North Carolina?
Yeah, I was actually born in Durham.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're the rarity. Most people are not from here at all.
I heard that for the first time like maybe a couple of months ago. I was out. No, I was actually at my new full-time job. Someone was like, oh, you're from Durham? I was like, yeah. They were like, we don't meet people from Durham. I was like, really? That's wild. So yeah, I was born here in Durham, but I was raised in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is, like an hour away. So yeah, born, raised, haven't left. I love North Carolina. It's growing so much and it's changing. And I think, it's staying relevant, which is why I haven't left. Like, I don't feel like I'm stuck in a time or like an era, like some places you're like, all right, these people are stuck in this time and like
Absolutely.
They're never getting out of it. Like I feel like specifically like Durham and like Raleigh, like the bigger cities, we've been evolving and like keeping up with we've been progressing. That's how I guess is the best way to put it. So I love it here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You said your first shoot was in Miami, right? But have you had like an experience shooting in North Carolina, or do you think like North Carolina is not the best, I guess, for?
No. So honestly, the reason why I went to Miami was because it was January, and I was like, I want to be in a bathing suit. Definitely not doing that up here.
Got you. Yep.
We get all the seasons, and it probably would have been snowing around that time in North Carolina. So I went to Miami specifically because I wanted to be somewhere warm where I could do the shoot and feel comfortable. But no, like North Carolina has some amazing photographers. There's two that I've shot with consistently over the past 2 years. I think as a whole, like on the creative level, like North Carolina is so talented. Like a guy I went to school with is a really great photographer out here. Shout out to Slim. It's funny because I actually did like a small like fashion shoot with him. He used to have like a line, and that was 2010, 2011, something like that. So no, like I've been shooting in North Carolina. I've had some shoots out here too. I'm actually planning for one end of this month. So no, North Carolina we have it all here. You can do it all here. So
okay.
Yeah.
So repping for the state for sure.
Yeah.
I tend to get the opposite from a lot of people, but I think it depends on where you maybe grew up, right?
Yeah.
Because you said, Durham, raised in Greensboro, and I think places where I'm from, where it's really the country, it's in the back. People don't even know the name. and I think people want to kind of get out of here
Yeah,
to experience things. But you say you have a great experience with modeling here. Kind of what was the first inspiration that got you into modeling? Was it, I don't know, you saw a model you loved in a magazine, you're like, oh, I could do that? Or
honestly, I think it was my family. I have a very close knit family. And my dad I'm 100% a daddy's girl. I grew up daddy's girl through and through. And he's always challenged me in that aspect. And I think it's him like seeing other people do it. And he's like, Liana, like you have the ability to do these things. And I think I won't go too heavy into it, but just like growing up the way that I did and having some of the insecurities I did, I was like, nah, that's not for me. But my dad just really continuously instilled like who he believed I could be and who he wanted me to believe that I could be. So, he is like, I will honestly say like, him just like challenging me on it, I think is the reason why I decided to step into it. Obviously, as I started to do it more for fun, I've found women that I would say I'm inspired by. One of my favorite girls to follow, her Instagram is What Pie Says. She was from America's Next Top Model. And obviously wanting to find a girl that was like my complexion and that I felt like I had things in common with was important to make me feel more confident in doing it. So, I think that what really started it for me though was my father. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You gotta love the family support. Not everybody benefits from that, but that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so far, what would you say has kind of been your favorite project to shoot, favorite photo shoot that you've had so far?
I would say it was one with the photographer here in North Carolina.
Okay.
His name's Cody. Oh my God, I keep running to the mic.
No, you're totally fine.
Okay,
You're totally fine. Right. Yeah.
My favorite so far has been with Cody. He's a North Carolina photographer. And I think the reason why I enjoyed it so much was because I got to style myself, which I've been learning like more and more of like the best ways to style myself based off honestly my personality, like my body type. And so that was the first time I got to kind of drive the boat in that aspect, which was really fun. And the pictures came out great too. So he is on my list of photographers to go back to. And it was just a studio shoot. It wasn't anything like super over the top. It was just like me and clothes. And I think like when you can have the confidence to like that just be it, it makes you feel good when you look back at the results and you're like, oh yeah, I did that. Like,
yeah,
so that's been my favorite so far for sure.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
How important is it to have a photographer that, you trust, that you can really like work with and, explore the different visions that you have, Can you talk about that kind of relationship between you and the photographer?
I think it's really important because I don't choose to work with anyone that I don't feel that trust with, whether it's like trusting that just keeping it 100, trusting like to be in a space with you by myself. I've had shoots where I've been in less clothing than like normal. So it's like, if there's an immediate like sense of trust there, in that aspect of like safety, then like that's a no. But also on the creative side, it's like, I want to present myself in a certain way when I do shoots, like artistically for sure, because you're building your brand. And so you want people that understand your brand, respect what you want to do for yourself, and like know how to navigate that with you. And so I think it's really important. I don't think you should ever step into a space creatively with a photographer, with a hairstylist, with a makeup artist that like you don't trust, is like everyone's not there to be cohesive and like put the vision together in the way that you want it to be. So I think it's vital because you tend to get the absolute best content when everyone's on the same page, when we all feel supported and trusted. So Yeah, that's a must. No compromise there. So
Absolutely. I completely agree.
yeah.
And many times I see models are enacting someone else's vision, right? Hey, I have a concept. I think you would be perfect for, I would love to shoot with you. Do you have more shoots? Because you talked about styling yourself. Do you tend to have more shoots now where it's your vision that you're bringing to life? Or is it kind of like 50-50?
Honestly, now, I would say it's probably like 60% being a photographer, like mentioning like, hey, I have this idea that I want to do. Like, do you feel comfortable doing this, or would you be open to trying this? And then 40% me kind of doing my own thing, or kind of being the person to put together the ideas. And I think that's just because I have a lot of other things that I'm doing now. And so most of the time, though, when I am doing a shoot, it's the photographer has like mentioned like, hey, I got this idea. And so I'm kind of willing to be the muse there. And I think it's all been with photographers that I've worked with before, though. And I think that's because they understand like my style and like what I'm good at, or what comes more naturally. But, yeah, I would say like 60% now is more so the photographer having a vision, and I am comfortable with it, or like, yeah, like that fits my, I guess, I don't know the word, that fits me, I could do that. I feel comfortable. I feel like I have the ability to pull off what it is that you want. So.
Got you.
Yeah.
Could you possibly describe what would be your dream photo shoot? Like if you could set one up, if you have a concept that you love, what would that look like?
I have never even thought about that. So, okay, I know for sure it has to be with water. I'm a Cancer through and through, so I've always loved the water. And I think that like there's so much movement with the water, and like the way you can interact with it to create movement and pictures is like, could be really, really dope. When you think about reflections and things of that nature, I don't know, you can just be really creative with water. I would love to be able to like maybe do something where I'm like underwater.
Okay.
Never tried that, and that's mostly because of the way my wigs are set up. But
So do we need like a throwaway wig?
We might need
like one.
We need something with some like super strong grip to like, because you're gonna have to do it a couple times, like you be submerge yourself underwater. Right. So I don't need nothing like deciding to just separate.
You don't need a wig.
I mean, maybe if that's the vision we were going for, but
yeah.
But no, I think like something like something submerged in water, like an underwater shoot, I think could be like super fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that for sure. With platforms today, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, and I think we're around the same age range. Those weren't as prevalent like for us growing up, and now being a model and you're able to put yourself out there, put your work out there in like a new way. Do you feel that these platforms, social media, has had more positive or negative impact with being a model?
I'm going to answer this from a particular perspective, because I have a lot of friends that are much like very, very seriously model, like friends that live in California and do it seriously. And from there, I think, considering like some of the success they've had, I think it has been really beneficial. And I think it's very simply, and I think the reason why is simply because whenever you see someone that looks like you doing something, it immediately like creates a sense of like, I can do that too. And I think like when you think about previous times before like social media, the media created that image of what a model looked like. Like they were the only ones who kind of had that much influence on it. So you saw a particular type and you kept seeing that particular type, and that was it. And I mean, obviously there were women even in that era that were breaking through and breaking the norms and doing all of that. But I think social media has sped that process up so quickly. Like now it's nothing to, I mean, you can see any type of person doing it. And I just think it gives more people confidence to just like do the things they want to do. So I think it's been a positive. I'm sure there are some negatives, but
for sure. I
mean,
everybody has their own personal, stories with that. And I would say that then I would ask, for yourself, personally, how do you think, because it's very unique being a model, because it is about how you present yourself. It is how you look. So how has that personally affected you mentally and physically?
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of going back to one of the questions you asked earlier, I talked a little bit about like just growing up and having my own insecurities, I think like most people do. And that was one of the reasons why I was like, I don't want to be in front of somebody's camera, because I felt like I don't want to see those insecurities again, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want anything that's going to remind me of the things that make me feel insecure about myself. And so I think mentally, if you're not in a space, I keep running to the mic.
That's all right. You can push it out a little bit.
A little bit?
Just
okay.
A little bit. Cool. Right,
cool.
there. Yeah.
I think mentally, modeling and just anything that requires you to be conscious of your physical, like after a while, it definitely takes a toll. You start doubting yourself. You kind of start second guessing as far as like, am I good enough at this? Like, do I have a certain look that I like, that other people are gonna like? And so I think it's important to know how to self-motivate yourself and like self-align yourself when you start having those types of doubts. And that's with anything really, but yeah, being in like doing something like this where you're constantly like conscious of like your looks, like it definitely has its moments where you're just like, I don't like that, it's weird. But I think
everybody can relate to that.
Yeah. It's the same thing, but I think maybe sometimes it might be a little more amplified. And then also like people are mean. Social media, people are mean. And so it's just like, so not only, dealing with the negative thoughts that you might personally have, but you're dealing with other people.
And that was that was something I wanted to ask, how do you deal with negativity? Do you have, a North Star inside of yourself of, that self-confidence and self-reassurance to kind of bypass some of those hateful comments that sometimes comes?
I just don't take it seriously. And that's something that I grew into. Like, obviously it wasn't always that way. I think during the times where it was like harder to deal with, I had to rely on my actual support system around me. Like, your social media support is real, but it's only real to an extent, right? So then you have to learn how to to step away from that and like find your real support, the people that are actually around you to remind you. But yeah, and then as I've matured and I've gotten older, I just realized like we all have, I don't know if I can curse, we all have our shit. So it's like, you projecting whatever it is you're dealing with on me, that's cool. Like, I don't mind it. Like, we all ugly to somebody. So like, I'm not gonna take it too personal. Like, I'm not your preference, and that's okay. You choosing to like use your energy to express that to me. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
I think that definitely speaks more to them.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you took the time out of your day to be that negative, I don't know. I'm like, I must be doing something right.
Yeah, you are.
Like, I'm not the best at everything that I do, but I'm daring enough to put myself out there and do something I like to do. Yeah. And I think for some people, you probably intimidate them because they're like, man, I wish I could be as bold as her to put myself online and really have that self-confidence to model.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, you have to, there's a balance with everything, right? Like, you have to care, but you also have to not care, because like caring too much will just have you in this space of like constant, like, I don't know, just like constant turmoil, because you're caring so much about what this person thinks, and everyone always thinks something different. Like, I don't know, you just gotta learn to, like, I know it's easier to just say this, but like really like block out the noise. So like have people around you. Sometimes you need the people around you to help you block out the noise. Like doing anything on your own is never like a good idea, in my personal opinion. You need actual support system, like whether that's your friends, whether that's your family, like whoever it is. Like sometimes you need the other people around you to help block out the noise. So I say lean on that as much as you can. But
yeah, support is always needed. I think a lot of people in today's society, just my personal opinion, is, you know, I think a lot of things are very individualistic. And we kind of just say, how can I go through life by myself? But when you do have a good core of friends and family, and it seems like you do, that's always just your North Star, right? Something that brings you back.
Always.
But yeah, you know, talking about social media too, and we were talking earlier off camera, you know, how things are more affordable nowadays with like camera equipment, things of that nature. Do you think nowadays you don't need a photographer as much? Like we see so many photos coming out from various people, men and women, who are modeling. What is that difference? Do you think a photographer is as needed?
Yeah. So I didn't mention this. I don't think I told you this, but so I did photography for a little bit, and it's something that I'm passionate about too. So I definitely have the ability to like take portraits of myself, which is cool. I've got some great shots. I've got some really dope stuff out of doing that. But I think for me, the reason why I prefer working with someone else is just collaboration is just, it's so important in a creative space. Like talking about, you know, going back to what you said about everyone wanting to do it on their own. It's just like, yeah, you can accomplish some things by yourself for sure. But like collaborating with other people, like there is such a, I don't know, I don't know if it's just because we're humans and we're supposed to be social and connect with each other, that like when you're working with other people, when you're collaborating, like you create better things, in my opinion. And I just think personally that like this person can see me differently than how I can see myself. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I've never saw myself that way, or, oh, I didn't even know I could like, you know, accomplish that. Or so I think that while it's impressive to be able to do things on your own, I think there is something that you gain from collaborating with other creatives that you can't do it by yourself. Like you won't be able to do it by yourself, because you could just gain a lot from working with other people. Experience, like if they have more experience, you know, you can learn from them. There's so many benefits to just working with other people than versus doing it all on your own. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, talking about collaborating with other people. So I said world traveler.
Yeah.
Right? And so
a few places.
I've seen some of your travel vlogs, and I think they're awesome.
Thank you.
And you know, has traveling opened you up to more opportunities for photo shoots? There's different locations, different backgrounds, more variety. So what's your experience with traveling and being a model?
I'll be very honest and say, like, I did not get to travel as much as I wanted to and do like modeling and photography and stuff like that. That was something that I was like, this next year, I'm focusing on that, because I have had the opportunity to connect with some photographers, like out of Cuba. I was planning on going to Cuba, and I was like, I want to find a photographer out here as well. But there is, like I said, kind of going back to the thing, like, going back to saying that there is a perception that you just can't get from yourself, but even just from like a cultural standpoint, there's certain perceptions that people have from different cultural backgrounds that like an American photographer might not have. So it's like, I have so much intention on working with photographers from other countries. There are some challenges around being darker skinned and working with international photographers. You know, I mean, Black people are everywhere, but I always have to kind of pay extra close attention to like what your portfolio looks like, because you might have never photographed a woman as dark as me, even though I feel like I'm pretty light compared to but so I have not had too much experience there, but I do have intentions, and I will follow up with you as soon as I get to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
sure. And you talked about that. I kind of forgot to put a question for that. But that is unique. I kind of, it's not that I didn't forget, but it's something that was not on top of my mind, because the way I think about modeling is, you are who you are, and you bring something to the table as you are.
Right.
But that has been a thing. Being a darker skinned model has been an issue.
Yeah.
Have you found that being an issue even in the U.S.?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's and that kind of takes me back to why I was like, there's so much talent here in North Carolina. There's some photographers in North Carolina that like they are set on making sure they photograph women of color, people of color, like in the most beautiful way, because it's still not something that's like, it hasn't been mastered yet. Like it's not, or I won't say mastered, but like it's not as common as you might think. And I mean, it does take a certain skill set, like, to be honest, like being able to, know what settings you need to have. Like just, I don't know. It seems very simple to people like us, because we're like,
I mean, I'm darker skinned myself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I get that. I think one of the first times I saw it be celebrated for the work of photographing darker skin. I don't know if you remember the show Insecure by Issa Rae.
Yes.
And so when they had behind the scenes with the cinematographer, and how there was the club scene where she played the famous song that her main character raps, Broken Pussy.
Yeah.
And the way they lit the club with a lot of different lights of like, reds and purples and blues, and how that reflected off of the dark skin, right? So you can see them very clear, but it complements them in a way. I think, there's a skill. There's a skill to it.
And it's like, in my personal opinion, it's like, why wouldn't you want to broaden your skill set? Like, why are you so set on, and when I think about just photographers when I think about the fact that there's not as many photographers who know how to capture Black people in the way we need to be captured, or it to me, it's like, why wouldn't you want to like get better at what you're doing? Like, why would you want to be like, oh, you can only do this type of person, and like that's where your skill set ends? But I feel like, why don't you want to challenge yourself and like learn something new? So yeah, no, it's a very real thing. Like, and it's unfortunate because 2025, we're going on 2026, and like, what do you mean? Yeah,
exactly.
So it's interesting, but
going back to your travel vlogs, this was one of the questions I wanted to bring up, and I was excited to bring up.
Oh God, I'm nervous.
So your intro, right?
Yeah.
Your voice, I think, is so great.
Thanks.
And I need you to tell people like your moniker. So what's that intro? Could you please say it for the mic? What's the intro to your travel vlogs? Yeah, go ahead. Get the giggles out.
Okay.
I want them to hear it. Yeah.
That's so funny. Because now I'm self-conscious. Okay. It goes something like, let's go to work.
I love that. Let's go to work.
Let's go to work.
If you check out her Instagram, which of course we're going to post a link to it, I think they're so good. They're very curated. I've seen you kind of grow in that over time, and I think people get better. I mean, I'm getting better at this. This is me coming back and doing this after a couple of years. Have you ever thought about voice acting or voiceover?
You know what? I have had people mention that, and I think for me, I just don't know where to start. That's kind of my thing, because I'm like, let's do voiceovers, because that seems, well, I won't say it seems easy, but it does seem like something that would be a good avenue to go. But I have no idea where to start. But I have had quite a few people like mention that to me, and I'm like, what kind of voiceovers are we talking about here? Like, what kind of voice acting are we talking about here? Because I don't know. I've always had people comment on my voice. I remember I remember this one time when I was working, I'm not going to say where I was working, but I was working, required me to be on the phone. And I had a lady call in and I was talking with her and she immediately was like, you don't have to talk like that. And I was like, what are you talking? I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you don't have to talk like that. She's like, this is not a sex phone. I was like, well, I'm sorry if you find my voice that soothing, but that's not what I was trying to do. So yeah, my people have commented on my voice for a long time. So I'll consider it.
That's crazy.
It was insane. Like this is
Right.
in my workspace. Like my managers like hear my calls and stuff. So I was like, you might get a comment from someone who thought I was trying to be sexy. It was insane.
Yeah, I think, you talked about your natural voice is a little bit more deeper tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say, I think it gives you a great character and a
Thanks.
uniqueness.
Thank you.
And embrace that. So I'm
will
sorry
try.
that this woman thought it was the hotline.
Girl,
But
they was not paying me enough.
yeah, no, we're not trying to do that. But no, I think you have a great voice. And
Thank you.
And you talked about, where to start. I'm going to say this right now.
Okay.
I have thought for this podcast, actually, I said, I would like her to actually say, this is not your day job.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I am different from other people. I'm
Okay.
not just asking you to do that. I will 100% pay you to do
I love
that.
it.
100% get those coins
Okay.
up because
That's interesting.
I was like, her voice is so good. But anyway,
Thank you.
that's
I'm so flattered.
yeah.
Thank you. It's yeah. So something a lot of people don't know. So growing up, I was vocally trained. I sang like classical music since I was like 13, 12 years old. And even through high school, I was vocally trained, like classically trained. So I do think that actually had a very big impact on the way my voice sounds. So yeah.
Okay. I have a coworker. I'm calling her a coworker, but she's really C-suite level. But anyway,
She's still your coworker.
But yeah, and she has one of the greatest voices, and so there's a parallel there. She came down to our office from the corporate office, and I said, "Wow, like, did you always just sound like that? It was just natural to talk that fluent and that good?" And she said she was trained as an opera singer. So what I'm realizing is that anyone who has taken training being a singer, I guess must have really good speaking ability. I guess that's the thing. So that's cool. That's cool to find out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I think that has made an impact for sure.
Okay. So as we're kind of wrapping up, I would say, over your time, being a model, if you had to describe your experience overall, what have you learned from your experience being a model?
That people always see you much differently than you see yourself. And that's not only like physically, but just in general, like we can be like our harshest critics, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's human nature, right? But I think that it's reminded me that the way that you see yourself sometimes it's not necessarily what everyone around you sees. And sometimes that can be a really good thing, because sometimes we have those days where we're like just not feeling it. But remembering that like the way that everyone else sees you might be in a different space than the way that you're looking at yourself in that moment. And to also, I would say to also just trust yourself. Like when you're trying to do something creative, it can be very hard to, okay, let me try and goes back. So in like corporate world, you have like metrics that tell you, or the company tells you how well you're doing based off the metrics that they're kind of using. Like, okay, you've had this number in revenue for the year.
Absolutely.
So you're on target. Where when you're in a creative space, the metrics don't really exist, because as a creative, if you're really in an element of being creative, there's nothing to compare it to. And so you have to learn to like trust yourself and know that what you're creating, you might not ever have anything to compare it to. That doesn't mean that like you're off target, or doesn't mean you're going the wrong route. So just trusting, you know, your ability, and trusting like what you're seeing and the visions you have. Yeah, so I think those would be the things I've learned so far.
I love that message. I love that message.
For sure.
So where's the best place people can follow you and keep up with you?
I would say my Twitter, but sometimes I get a little
spicy.
Okay. So I'm gonna say probably my Instagram.
Okay. Yeah.
Like part of my goal this year is to just definitely continue to build my following, and just honestly, even if the following doesn't come, just like creating better things that I'm like proud of. Like I said, I have a shoot that I'm planning with a photographer for the end of this month, so I'm excited about that because it deals with water. So I'm excited about that. And then also just doing some more like personal travel vlogs, because like when I was traveling with work, it was great. I loved it because I got to see a lot of cool places. But I think with me doing some more personal travel, I'll be able to, I can say certain things and not have to be concerned about,
got it,
am I on the company's dollar? Because that's a big no-no. They are very strict.
Gotcha.
The people have lost their jobs. So, yeah.
Yep, we have seen it through TikTok.
Yeah. We
have definitely seen it.
Yeah.
So what's the next place on the list that you would like to travel to?
Oh, man. So, honestly, I would love to go back to Costa Rica. If you're broke and don't have a lot of money, Costa Rica is one of the best places you can go. Your dollar goes so far there. Once you get there, your money goes really far. But also, I am a very outdoorsy person, and the jungles and the nature in Costa Rica is beautiful. The food's great. So that is on my list. So I'm going to try and see if I can finesse that by the end of the year. So I'm thinking there. And then also, crazy enough, I've never been to Jamaica.
Me neither.
I've never, and I know people are like, oh, Jamaica's not. But for me, I'm like.
Here's the thing, right? This is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
When everybody wants to go to a said place and it is the place that's on fire, I don't want to go.
Okay, that's fair.
Because everybody's going.
Yeah.
But as soon as it dies down and everyone says, oh, who wants to go there anymore? That's when
you go. Okay,
yeah.
So great.
Yeah,
I'm on par for going there. Or I guess it's a good time to go. So there, and then Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. So San Juan is like where most people go because it's also like has the biggest airport. But on the other side of the island, there's a city called Aguadilla, and it's much more. When I travel, I like to be immersed in culture. I hate going to other countries and it feels like I'm in the U.S. still, because I'd be like, what's the point? So I was trying to get out of there. So Aguadilla is just a little bit more local feel. So yeah, between one of those three places.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for stopping by. It was a great conversation.
Pleasure.
I'm glad we're finally able to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you again.
I appreciate you. I'm rooting for you always. This is a great space. So definitely willing to support.
All right.
I can.
And we'll have you back on again.
Yeah.
We'll check in with you.
Maybe
again.
I'll do like teach the people like a dance move or.
Oh, okay. Do it.
No. Actually, no, that's not my jam.
Gotcha.
But no, I'd be happy to come back.
That's
sure.
awesome. I appreciate you.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're
well,
welcome.
That's all right. We'll talk to you next time.
Did I do the clap thing again?
Peace. No, we're good.
Okay. All right.